What's going on YouTube? So today we have some special guests, Matt and Becca from BAM Exotics. So they do a lot of different species, retics, burms, balls. Not really sure what else. I'll let them get into all that. But yep, they coming up. They brought some snakes to show off, give us, even school me a little bit. We have retics. I've kept retics. I've bred retics, but it's been a long time. Definitely out of the new stuff, things of that nature, but I'll let them school me and hopefully school y'all, and let's check out what they got. So it's great weather down here in Georgia. We had the door open, so I apologize for the background noise, but it feels good outside, and I like looking outside anyway, and weather's great. So anyway, without further ado, this is Becca and Matt from BAM Exotics.
Hello.
And I'm just basically going to sit back and play Craig today and ask dumb questions. So alright, so what we got here?
We started off with the balls. So we picked our two, I say favorite, it's hard to pick a favorite when we picked so many good things up from you this year, but we have a blackhead fire yellow belly male and a vanilla inchy lesser yellow belly female.
Yep. Alright, so I produced both these animals this past season. This was definitely one of my favorite animals. Probably should have kept this one, but it is what it is. So
Didn't go far.
look at how blackhead interacts with the fire and yellow belly on this. So this is a blackhead yellow belly. Look at what fire done to this. Is that crazy? So anyway, I'm just going to throw that out here for reference. And we're always getting asked about what combos blackhead works well with. Fire and yellow belly are a must. So, all right.
Easily one of my favorites. So this one here is just one of our favorites from our personal collection. Just a really visually appealing female. We've had her since a hatchling. It's just a GHI champagne girl.
So look at what GHI done to this. So you have a really gold dorsal here. Not really a stripe, but just the solid dorsal. And then the dark sides. It's crazy. Champagne is just such a strong gene, and even as black as GHI is, still that champagne is so heavy involved.
The paradoxing on champagnes is really cool to
Yep.
me. It's all of her little spots. Never get two that are the same.
Absolutely. Sweet. So, alright. And so we talked about that one?
Yep, this is the vanilla inchy lesser yellow belly.
Gotcha. This one was a possible hurricane.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
She's definitely my favorite.
it was his favorite pickup for this year. He saw her and he's like, I've got to have that one. So
Gotcha. Yeah.
we made it happen and can't wait to see her with some size.
I love vanilla stuff.
It's beautiful.
I think vanilla is extremely underrated.
Yep.
So.
Good female to have.
Alright, so other than the balls, y'all also do
Retics, burms.
retics, burms.
We'll probably produce one clutch of Afrox. We don't have a male right now, but maybe one occasionally.
Gotcha.
Thinking about picking up a male for the yellow anaconda that we have.
Gotcha. So much bigger stuff than what we house.
A lot of large constrictors. Our main focus really is the retics. The balls just kind of help fluff things out, and then the burms, we picked up a couple of selective projects, some genes that we really wanted to work with, and just kind of picked up a few powerhouse animals to get that project rolling.
Gotcha.
And we'll just kind of go from there. We breed what we like to see. We don't follow the general market and what everybody else
Absolutely.
likes. And
That's how you pave your own path.
exactly.
So,
We enjoy what we do, and we want to keep it that way.
gotcha. So for those that don't know me personally, retics are just as cool to me as the balls are. I love reticulated pythons. Absolutely love them. Definitely would have a huge warehouse full of them if I could afford to have them and keep them and feed them. But I can't. I can do that more with balls, so that's mainly what we focus on here. But retics are definitely some of my favorites too, and I'm glad that they came out to show us some. So let's go on with whatever y'all want to pull out next. So out there to grab a few more animals, just gonna give a shout out to Chris Davenport. Got his shirt on today, so appreciate the shirt, Chris. So when they pull these things out of the bag, I don't even know what to say. So I'll just let them explain all this. But man, these things are crazy.
So we're going to start off with a couple of the smaller ones. This here is a hypogranite Burmese python. She's still a baby. And
so hypo in Burms is not the same hypo that balls have.
Correct.
And it's more similar to what the boas have.
Yes. So hypo, it works a little bit differently in the Burms. There's actually different combinations that you can make with it once you start combining it with the albino and whatnot, and it does have a super form also. So that is the only gene that I am aware of in Burms that is not recessive. It is actually a codom gene.
Gotcha. And the granite is more what pattern you're seeing there.
Absolutely. So this patterning here is your granite, and that is a recessive.
Beautiful.
And she's also a 66% pos het green.
Nice.
So we decided to work with green, albino, hypo. We have quite a few visual hypo animals in our collection actually, and you know the granite, just that pattern is a must-have for us. So.
And I've seen some granites that are nice, and then you see granites like this that are
hypo does it.
Yeah.
We would like to add lab. I think we're going to add a hypo lab in the future, but we'll get there.
Gotcha. So what is this thing? Because that's like the craziest retic I've ever seen.
This genetically is just a marble. She's possible het albino. She actually has percentages of dwarf and super dwarf in her, but not enough. She doesn't reach the 50% mark. The really cool thing about her though is she's actually going into our selective breeding program for small animals, because even though her percentages don't meet industry standard, this animal is over a year old and is really, really small. So the cool thing with retics is if you selective breed small babies or small parents, then you get small babies, and that's kind of what we're shooting for with her.
So she's a year old, over a year old.
Over a year old. I don't have her exact hatch date right now, but I want to say she's closer to the 1.5 year mark.
Okay, so what do we expect, like full grown, what is this animal going to peak out at?
I don't expect her to reach over 12 foot.
Yeah, it's crazy. At that rate, I doubt it.
Yeah, extremely, and honestly that might be a little bit on the higher side. She may not even get that high.
So we're just going to throw this out here for just visual reference. So this is Blair's retic, and this snake is a year old. So I don't know if y'all can see the difference here.
About a foot longer, a little bit girthier.
So
this animal, she's not being starved. She's being fed an appropriate sized meal once a week. It leaves a pretty good sized lump on her. I mean, she's slamming weaned rats with no issues. She could even take a small.
Gotcha. So
it's just
to give you another comparison, this is a purple golden child, female, and she's a little over a year old and is fed every other week, appropriate size.
Yep.
So we're trying to grow her, fairly slow too. I don't like pushing the retics and Burms especially.
There's no reason to push them. It just puts unnecessary stress on their body. And
so this thing is super tiny.
Yeah.
I like
She's
it.
little.
I like it. So I'm hoping y'all can start producing some of these animals that stay, within boa range, where people can keep them fairly easily, in a 6 or 8 foot enclosure.
There's a huge market for the dwarf and super dwarf. We are mainly focusing on the mainland animals. We like them big. It's just something awe-inspiring about being able to work with a 16-foot animal, and it's what we enjoy doing. but there's absolutely a market for the smaller animals.
Oh, yeah.
And
Me, I'm the market.
Yep.
Well, we also
We can't house, you know, that many 16-footers, so we do gotta do some of the small ones to fill our appetite too.
Nice. Obviously, a little bit larger snakes here. So, first thing I want to ask is age-wise, how old are these?
They're
Two-ish.
probably about a year and a half to 2.
Year and a half to 2.
be 2 sometime this year.
Gotcha.
So this is going to touch on our recessive projects a little bit. This is a genetic stripe female. She is a 66% pos het albino and titanium.
Wow, look at that head. Look how the head fades.
One of the best stripes.
Beautiful.
And of course I'm biased, but one of the best stripes that I've seen so far.
Beautiful.
Genetic stripe is one of my personal favorite genes to work with. It just, you can do so much with it. It's beautiful. We actually have a Velvet. She didn't get to come with us today because she was in shed, but Velvet is a genetic striped tiger. The cool thing with Velvets though is that not every genetic striped tiger is a Velvet. There's an enzyme that has to be present in the breeding to make that combo happen. I'm sure you've seen pictures of her at some point. It just really stripes out. Looks like somebody took a magic eraser to her back half. So Velvet's really cool. We are going to be working with that as well.
Gotcha. So this is obviously a pied. Everybody knows the pieds.
Low white pied female. She's het albino, 100%.
Beautiful.
And her boyfriend is a little bit snappy, so he didn't get to come today either. But we do have a pair of pied het albinos.
Nice. So pied is something that I'm looking to add to our collection. I just haven't figured out which combo I want to put yet. But pieds get a little bit of a bad rap, just like you just said, a little snappy. So
They do. So
touch on that for us.
we have 2 off the same clutch, male and female, and the male is a little bit smaller, thankfully, because he's kind of a pain to work with. But pied is a recently introduced gene to the United States, so they're closer to the wild-caught parents, and they kind of have a little bit of a reputation. She's a sweetheart, absolutely no issues with her, and he's quite the opposite. It happens. You can have it with any morph, but once you start getting into those that are closer off the wild-caught lines, they generally have a little bit more of a finicky attitude.
And that pretty much goes for any species.
Absolutely.
So just FYI, the closer to the wild caught animal, because all of these generate from the wild, just in case you didn't know that, all of this stuff is generated out of the wild, caught out of the wild, and then humans breed them to try to keep that continuing, you know, and adding other morphs into it and stuff, and that's how we get these crazy combinations. So the closer back to the wild the animal is, or the morph is, the more aggressive or
nervous
or striky or bitey or whatever you want to say it. They're just not used to being around humans.
Exactly.
That's all it boils down to, is they're not used to being around humans. So they're just not as calm as what the further generations become. So anyway,
there really is no such thing as a mean snake. Retics have a really bad rap in general, and it's just a lot of people either don't know how to deal with them, the animal's uncomfortable, they're nervous, you know, something's wrong with their setup, their temperatures are too high. Whatever it is, you gotta give the animal time to get in and adjust. And
yeah, same thing with
most
balls.
of them are puppy dog.
People every now and again, I get the message. I'm sure everybody gets it if you're a breeder. I've got a snake that always bites me when I stick my hand in. Well, you just have to learn how to deal with it one way or the other, and that's a whole different YouTube video. But yeah, you got to make the snake comfortable. These animals, we're putting them in something to make them live. So you have to make them comfortable, not us, them. So I'll get off that soapbox. All right, let's check something else out.
So this here is a Banteng Sulawesi retic. Visually, he's just normal, but it's a locality. So reticulated pythons come from Indonesia, and then within Indonesia there are different regions. She is a lavender albino.
They get bigger than this too.
Absolutely.
She's on pigs right now.
You have to outsource, you know, finding stillborn piglets and stillborn rabbits, and it's not easy to find food to feed them. So Bagheera is a motley golden child.
Non-albino versions
it just gives them this really shattered pattern along the dorsal.
Only 2 years old on this animal. So look at the size of this. Also, we apologize that we're having to be outside. We tried filming inside with these bigger ones and just wouldn't work. We weren't set up to film outside because it was a last minute thing. I apologize. So I've always been curious. I've never actually tried this because I've never been able to work with retics with somebody that was my size. So since me and Matt's fairly close in size, I mean, I'm a little bit shorter, just a little bit shorter than he is, and a lot fatter. But anyway, can the snake that size reach out far?
Absolutely.
Can they extend out?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the reason that we're filming outside is because she would absolutely reach the top of your racks and just wipe everything off.
All right, Cassie, your turn to hold it.
No, thank you.
We certainly appreciate y'all bringing the snakes up and checking them out. I sure enjoyed it, so I hope everyone did too. So once again, Becka, Matt, Bam Exotics. So somebody has more questions about retics or wants to purchase something, where can they get a hold of y'all at?
We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, it's just BAM Exotics. If you guys reach out to me on either and you need my personal number, then just shoot me a text, shoot me a call, whatever. And
y'all need to see this.
You gonna bite me?
Hi! Merry Christmas, Becka!
Merry Christmas.
We just wanted to show our appreciation for being such an awesome friend to us, so here you go. Hope you like it.
are you freaking kidding me? Are you serious?
Is that Brittany and Jason?
Mm-hmm.
Holy crap.
Oh my god, guys.
Hi! Merry Christmas, Becka!
Merry Christmas.
We just wanted to show our appreciation for being such an awesome friend to us, so here you go. Hope you like it.
I was not expecting. That's crazy. Whoa.
Wait, are they up right now?
I told her this morning y'all were coming up here, so she's freaking excited too.
I definitely did not expect to leave any snake. Especially one of this caliber.
What did you do? Because we just received our Christmas gift.
Oh, yeah?
It already bit me.
It did.
Okay, why should
So, in case you quite couldn't figure out what just happened there, some friends of Becka and Matt wanted to get them something for Christmas, and they couldn't decide what. They asked me if I knew something that they might want as far as animals go, and I said sure. You know, Becka and Matt come to the house, you know, once every couple weeks, so I'm pretty familiar with what they like and don't like. And the one that they really like was a very expensive animal, and I told Brittany and Jason that I would give them a really good price on it because of what they were doing for some friends, for some fellow hobbyists, and I thought that was really cool. So I gave them a great price on a very expensive animal, and they said yeah, that's what we want to do. So they paid for the animal, and Becka and Matt had no idea that they were getting that today. So we schemed up a little thing to catch them on camera. So hope y'all enjoyed that last little bit too. So this time for sure out, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks for watching our daddy's channel. Make sure you subscribe.